When it comes to long-term community energy planning, one community that's done a really good job is the tiny village of Igiugig in southwestern Alaska.
I'm AlexAnna Salmon, the president of Igiugig Village Council.
We heard from AlexAnna earlier in this course, but I wanted to talk to her specifically about her approach to community energy planning.
Igiugig still exercises indigenous planning methods from time immemorial, and it's you bring everybody together and all the voices in the room, and you set your goals and your vision for the future. And that has been a central tenet to a lot of the work that we do. In 2000, it was comprehensive community planning. And in that plan, top 3 alternative energy was identified. At that time, we just wanted to make the transition from diesel, didn't know if it was going to be wind, solar, or hydro, and then began the hydro journey.
So when AlexAnna is talking about hydro, she's not talking about conventional hydroelectric power. She's talking about a novel hydrokinetic device that can extract energy directly from moving water by putting the turbine right into the water column.
In 2021, we started working with National Renewable Energy Lab and doing comprehensive energy planning, specifically energy and goal setting, which we have just adopted in February 2022, and it is to decrease by 50% our diesel-produced electricity, and to do that by 2030, which is just 8 more years away. So it's an aggressive goal, and we will measure that annually as a community and be accountable to our own goals that we set.
So Igiugig wasn't just thoughtful about setting a target for reduction of diesel fuel, they also established metrics and a timeline so that they could hold themselves accountable to meeting those goals. And that also allowed them to break down what was otherwise a pretty complex and involved project into smaller chunks that they could assign to individuals and then ultimately hold one another accountable for outcomes.
The planning process is very important for the community, and getting their ownership of this goal. Also, the ideas of how we're going to achieve this, on which levels, what buildings we will retrofit or do energy audits on, where we're experiencing line loss, what's happening with our microgrid. Anyway, all of that is in this plan, which is very actionable, and it's broken down into stages, and then it gets very specific about this is where you can go for funding. And then it becomes a human capacity issue, or challenge, like who has the time and energy and resources to pursue this. And then when the plan is broken down like that, I can take a piece of it, and my brother is taking a piece of it, and our council is dedicating to it. So, it's shareable at that point. The workload is shareable and it's manageable from this very giant, lofty goal. Very concrete how you're going to get there. And then that also allows you, if you run into stumbling blocks, to then pivot and take a new direction and update it. These things are not set in stone.
So that willingness to be flexible and thoughtfully adjust course when the need arises is really key to project success. But so is staying true to community values and priorities and making sure to be able to advocate for those should the need arise.
I think that we're driven by our value system, and that it's easy for us to go into meetings and set the agreements. Like, okay, ORPC, you want to prove your technology. We want to get off of diesels. And where does this intersect? And then to be able to prove it on the Igiugig River, which has the largest sockeye salmon run on Earth, and to stay committed to not harming our fish. What partners do you need there? Okay, University of Alaska Fairbanks, you're kind of the leading for fisheries. What kind of a partnership with academia do we need? And so the biologists have been a big part of this. Okay, what technology are you going to use to study this? Oh, the software needs to be written. Let's go find our friend who's at Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation who knows a lot about science and software, and we'll see if he has a contact, and you just build in the team. And where we're at now is looking at, do we want to lease the RivGen device? Do we want to own it? Do we want to set up an independent power producer kind of an arrangement? And this is brand new language to our tribe.
AlexAnna has done a remarkable job in building out her network and filling key gaps in local skill sets while retaining creative control and decision-making authority over the project as a whole.
So who's leading the way in Alaska? What consultants are they working with? What legal team? And we already know that's the next step. So let's build that, the resource into this funding we're looking at right now, so that we have the resources to bring on the team we're going to need to build, and bring them into the room, and communicating with other communities, looking at their models, learning, like what was mentioned on the panel, really listening to what's going on, and recognizing your own limitations. Like, I know that I don't have the capacity to know what this is going to look like. So what team members are we going to need? And like our accountant, our head of our electric utility, what does the operator think about where we're headed? So the team doesn't have to stay the same. You bring people on and let them go as you need to, but having that flexibility is so important.
What AlexAnna is describing is a flexible and dynamic approach to project management and development that pulls in outside expertise as needed, but that has a deep respect for local know-how and that maintains a consistent vision while being willing to take some detours or be flexible in this specific route that they take in terms of achieving that vision. As a result, Igiugig has continued to be a leader in renewable energy development despite the occasional setback, and that's largely because the community is really aligned behind this common vision that they share, and that's really about living sustainably in a place that their ancestors have inhabited for at least the past 8,000 years.